Today I want to show you a very practical way to spend 200k if you are one person living alone, existing alone and thriving alone. No wife, no kids. If you have girlfriend, that's your problem. I did not put girlfriend inside here. So you're just talking about one person earning 200k, and 200k is the worst case scenario. Okay, in this ride sharing business is the worst case scenario. That is the least you should make in a month. If you make anything lesser, you should go for a solution. So there are a couple of things I outlined here that are essentials. Other things are like, well, there will always be more. There will always be, that's the thing. That's why you need to budget. There will always be something you need. Maybe in your house you want to change your sofa. You need table. You need something. There's always something. But as long as you keep to the things that are quite most essential, you find that you can grow. Okay? Remember, we always say scalability is not something that is synonymous with ride sharing, but you can make it big. All right? You can make it big with discipline, because one thing ride sharing will always give to you is the big capitals, right? You can go out on one day and come back with so much money. If you budget that money right, you will get the huge money to do other things, and that's the goal. So for one person living alone, not living in their parents' house, we're presuming that this one person lives in a rented apartment. We're also presuming that this one person sorts for his or herself completely. For some people, they go to their family house, they pack food, and they come back and they eat, and things like that. But we're not fixating on that. We're just fixating on one person who earns 200 from ride sharing, precisely ride sharing. And this is how you should spend it. So I have three main division. Number one is the essentials. Number two is miscellaneous. And number three is emergency. Three. This is how we divided the 200. By the way, we spent everything. So stay with me. And you remember, before I start, you remember the last time we talked about finance, we said there are three things. Number one, you have to determine your least acceptable amount in the months, right? No matter how the month goes, you must be able to make this much. No matter how bad it is, you must be able to make this much. You need to determine that for yourself. If your own amount, let's say, is 150, then make sure you keep it at 150. Anything more than 150 is a bonus for you. Number two, you must budget that particular least amount. And number three, buy things in bulk. That's how you save the most. All right? I used to do this mistake where I used to buy weekly, and by the end of the month, I realized I was spending way more than when I started to buy everything in bulk, bags and sacks and moodoos and things like that. I realized, oh yeah, could have really been saving much even. We're going to see all that. Number one, we have essentials. Number two, we have miscellaneous. Number three, emergencies. Now, what is under essentials? Essentials, you have feeding. You need to eat. And then number two, by the way, feeding includes toiletries as well. So feeding, basically, you eat, and then you buy things like soap, detergent, dish soap, bathing soap, things like that you may be needing for, to run your house or to be toiletries. So feeding and toiletries, in this case, under essential, in this case, we're going to leave it at 30,000 for one person and for the entire month. Now, it's still up to you as a person now to decide, okay, I want to feed, like really feed and fatten up, or you want to feed like a bachelor would. You can decide, okay, I'm going to buy meat for every one of my meals, or chicken or mutton, whatever the case may be. Or you can decide, you know what, instead of buying meat for everything, I really can still enjoy the food without the meat. Maybe I'll buy egg, maybe I'll buy milk, something else. Whatever it is that helps you curb your excessive spending, that's what budgeting will help you do, because the moment whatever you save from feeding goes into something else, All right, but let's say give or take for an average person, I expect that you will not spend anything more than 30,000 on feeding. I'm so sorry, not with toiletries, on feeding alone. Toiletries is something else. On feeding alone, just to eat in the entire month for one person. Remember, no girlfriends. Number one, feeding, 30K. Number two, data. I want you to buy data in bulk. Please do not buy data weekly. Don't buy data daily. Buy data in bulk. So for that, I'm keeping it around 10K. It may be a little bit higher, it may be a little bit lower, but please buy data in bulk. At least, I don't want you to overdo, but at least if you can do per month. Don't buy data weekly. That is the least. Like, if you can even buy up to a year worth of data, that if you calculate it, you'll find that you are spending way less than when you are doing all those 2 days or 1 day or 1 week or no. The more you buy in data, the less you have to pay and the more gig you get. All right. So for data, I kept it around 10,000. It may be 11, it depends on the network you're using and how much you're selling. But somewhere around that, it could be 13, it could be 12, it could be 9, whatever it is. But according to us, it's 10,000 for data. Next is rent. Presumably you're living somewhere, not in your father's house or mommy's house. You're living alone and you're getting a salary of around 200K, or you're making 200K from ride sharing. So that means, according to financial rules, you should not live in a place wherein the amount that you get, 2 months of it, cannot cover for the rent. Some people go as high as 3 months, but just to be safe, I'll keep it at 2 months. So if we're talking about 200, the person who earns 200 in 2 months, your rent for the year should be around 400. 450, 500, that's a bit of a stretch, but it can still work. But let's use 400 for our calculation. So for every month, you are required to save 30K non-stop every month. Remember, the 200 we're using is for the worst months. Even though the month is so dry, there's nobody moving, in fact there's protests or whatever, you are still able to make 200. So you keep around 30K just for rent. Savings. Very importantly, you should understand, never save pointlessly. Always save towards a particular goal. And if you're saving to marry, I think I need to give you a fucking slap. Again, sorry for cursing. I need to conk you. You don't save to marry, okay? Whoever you want to marry, need you to, pour in money into that. You're practically buying the person. That's not ideal whatsoever. That's not ideal. So when you save, I'm talking about saving to other ventures. Marriage is not a venture. Unless maybe if you marry the girl and the girl's father will then help you, and okay, maybe then that's an investment, right? But if you're just saving just because you want to do one bet, man, I can't even talk to you. You are gone. You are not there to get you. So savings is very, very important. 80K every month. Every month. That's 20K every week. Okay? And this is at least. All of this is at least. Okay? Now we go, that's essentials. Now we go to miscellaneous. In miscellaneous, we have personal. You need some personal money. Sometimes you need to buy cloth, you need to do hair, you need to do pedicures. If you're a man that does pedicure, manicures, and just have some personal money. Just have some personal money. So for personal, I kept it at 10,000 for the month. Your own pocket allowance is 10,000. This does not include feeding and some other things, or toiletries. It includes other things. Maybe your shoe spoiled and you need to fix it. You fix it from the 10,000. Maybe you need to do dread from your 10,000. So if it's not up to you can't do it, right? Keep yourself disciplined enough to stay within the budget. Then we have toiletries. All right, toiletries also go for 10,000. Toiletries should not be miscellaneous, actually. Should be an essential. Then finally, emergency stroke car fund. Every week, try and have an emergency car fund of at least 15,000. 15 now? No, not 15. But at least for the month, you should at least have at least 30,000 in car fund. If you see my videos, most of the time I spend somewhere around 20 to 30 something, 20 to 40 actually, every month on something. Something is always up with the car and all that. So as much as you can, whatever you save from the feeding, whatever you save from personal, whatever you save, you put it all into the car fund. Okay, because your car needs to be all right. That's your money maker. That's your money maker. All right. So whatever you don't spend, please, the first place that it should go into is car fund, because there will be problems that are way over and beyond things you don't plan for. That's why it's emergency stroke car fund. Okay. So that's essentially a breakdown for a person who earns 200K and lives alone. We're going to do the same breakdown for a person who also earns 200K and they live with their dearly beloved or Bonnie lass or their partner without kids. So we're going to do that a little bit later. But for now, if you live alone, I think you should be fine. And your savings, they compound and they should be able to help you make other important decisions. Okay. Bye bye for now.